Okay guys, so today we're going to go over what's in my backpack for the 2019 backpacking season. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. So today we're going to go over what's in my backpack. If you're wondering where the heck I am in my photography studio. This is one of the sets we built in our studio. We have a pretty large studio with a bunch of different sets, so you may see different videos in different sets. It's not something we built just for videos, it's something I just had access to, so here we are. So we're going to talk about my backpack. This is the Zpacks Arc Haul. I did not go for the Arc Blast. The Arc Blast is a little bit lighter, but it can't handle as much weight. The Arc Haul can definitely handle more weight. And not that I carry a lot of weight, but I want to have the option to carry extra camera gear. Since I'm a photographer, I want to be able to take my full-size DSLR occasionally when I want to. So let's talk about some of the problems I had with this bag. First of all, I love the bag. I took it out one time and overall the bag functioned pretty well, except for the belt. I hated the belt. It just felt too small. And it was the size that the website said was for me, but it just didn't work out. So eventually I found a larger belt. I found it on eBay. Put it on here and it's worked out great. Now I love it again, and we're going to take it out for the 2019 season. I think I'm going to love it. I haven't really tested it out yet. So let's go over what's inside the bag here. We'll just talk about the outside of the bag first. I do carry bear spray. I don't carry a gun. I'm not against carrying a gun, just the extra weight of a gun. I have not decided to do that yet. I've thought about it and I may do it in the future. I have several guns. I love guns. I love shooting, but I just don't take a gun with me when I'm backpacking. And I do backpack alone quite a bit. So the option's there. I do approve, but for me, I'm just not there yet. I do put a map in a bag. my trowel, you know what that is, deuce of spades. I do carry a little thermometer on the outside. On this side over here, I have a smart water bottle. Everybody uses those, don't have to over explain that. I do use a sit pad instead of a chair, although sometimes I have taken a chair if I'm not gonna go very many miles. And I think I might be hanging out at the campfire, or if I'm gonna stay up late at night taking pictures of the stars, I may take a small chair. But for the most part, I just use a cheap sit pad. It weighs 1 ounce. My water filter system, we'll dig into here. I use a mesh bag instead of a closed bag. That way it can dry quicker. For my dirty water bag, I use a C-Knock or Knock, however you say it. For my dirty bag, this is the 2-liter version, I believe. They even have a 3-liter version. I'll link these in the description down below. I do use the Sawyer Squeeze. I used the mini last season, and just like everybody else said, the flow rate just sucks pretty bad. So I'm back to the Sawyer Squeeze. This is my third one. I lost one, and I froze one in the wintertime, and this is my third one. So never actually had a problem with the filter itself. I just have a hard time taking care of it myself. I do carry a small little half-cut piece of a bottle so I can scoop water out of mud puddles if I need to, and I had to on my last trip. It was the first time I had to really do that, and I'm glad I had that. So I'll put that aside. On the outside, I also keep my rain jacket on the outside. This is an outdoor research jacket. Still 100% sure if I like this jacket or not, so I'll link it in the description. It's light enough, give you that. I also have the outdoor research pants. Never wore them yet. Can't say much about those either, but I do have them. The hat. This is probably my favorite hat I've ever bought. It's nice, thin, but it's still fairly warm. This is a Carhartt I found at a local store here in downtown Waynesburg, where I'm from. I have a thicker hat for wintertime, but this will be perfect for nights in the summer. Camp gloves. I hate going around grabbing sticks and logs and stuff for a fire with my bare hands. Don't know what I'm gonna be digging into. I don't get poison ivy, so I do wear gloves. Not that you won't get poison ivy from touching the gloves, but it makes me feel better. Okay, so on the front, I keep my main water bottle on a little strap here. I'll link this in the description as well. This is very handy. And I put a little piece of bungee here on the front to kind of keep the bottle from swinging around. I saw that on a different channel, and that's definitely made carrying water on the front a lot easier. We'll just take that off, get that out of the way. I also use a Garmin InReach Explorer Plus. I had the older version of the previous company that owned InReach. I had that for a couple of years, and when Garmin bought them out, I bought this thing pretty much right away. It does have maps in it, although I don't really use it for that. I do use it for tracking, and I use it for the satellite texting stuff we can do. It links to my phone through Bluetooth, and I can send text to my wife through the phone, through the device, over satellite, and then back down to my wife. It also has the SOS button on the side in case something drastic happens and I need help. I got that. Service is a little pricey, but for the peace of mind of being out there and And again, I backpack alone a lot. It's nice to have. I do keep a rag in the front. I do have a little water bottle pouch on the front, although I don't use it for a water bottle, I use it for a rag. And I usually put a camera down inside here. I'll show you the camera in a little bit. I think that's, well, we got one more pouch on the outside. Inside here, I keep my bug spray. And at nighttime, I do walk around with a small knife and a small flashlight because I'm a big baby. Mainly because I'm by myself, and just a small little knife and a flashlight. I don't always take this, but if I'm by myself, I do take this. If I'm going with friends, I don't typically carry the extra knife and extra flashlight. So I do have a headlamp inside here as well. When I'm by myself, like I said, I'm a big baby. Let's dig inside. I do have a cheap puffy jacket. Now I got this on Amazon. Pretty cheap. It's Amazon Amazon Essentials. And I tell you, I used this all winter, and it was awesome. I loved it. I'm not gonna buy anything else. It's not the lightest one. It's definitely still super light, but I know there's lighter ones out there, but I like it. I'm not changing anytime soon, and it's cheap. My food bag is a Zpacks food bag. I used a cheap Walmart dry bag for the last 3 or 4 years. Never had a problem with it, but I finally tore a hole in it, so I broke down and bought this thing. A line and a bear bag. A little tip for the bear bag. If you're looking for a rock bag, I get mine stuck in the tree all the time and rip them. So I save every little stuff sack I get from everything that I buy, and I just have a whole box full of them, and I just grab a new one every time I rip one. And I use it for a rock bag. And then inside here, I do have the rope, keep it nice and neat, and a couple little carabiners. So even though I buy my meals for dinner, I got the titanium spoon, but even though I make my own, or I buy my own meals, I buy my meals for dinner, I make my own breakfast meals like oatmeal and things like that, and I just put them in a Ziploc bag. This helps it kind of keep warm as it's heating up. It also adds a little more structure to it as I'm eating, a little bit easier to eat out of. And I just made that out of, I think it was a car window shade thing. My cook kit, making all kind of noise today. Got a rag, keep everything clean. Half size lighter, because you got to save ½ ounce. I got the BRS stove like everybody else. This is my second one. The first one I stripped. It kept cross-threading on my canister, so I wasn't sure if it was the canister or the stove. I just said screw it, just bought another one. It was only 20 bucks, so whatever. I do use just a small size canister if I'm only going for 3 or 4 days. Although if I'm gonna go for longer than that, I will get a longer size or full size canister. The pot that I use, I forget the name of it. I've had this for a couple years. I think it was maybe like a pasta pot or something like that. I forget what it was actually called back then. But I like it because of the rubber handles, and it is probably the lightest pot for this size that I could find. Not the sturdiest, but you know, you're not sitting on it. There's that. My battery bag. Okay, so let's go through this thing. I do carry, right off the bat, let's get this out of the way so you can make fun of me. I do put a light inside my tent. Again, because I'm a big baby, I do backpack alone a lot, and having that extra little light inside my tent is nice when I stay up late. If I'm going to read, if I'm going to watch any kind of TV shows on my phone, just having an extra little light in there is fine. Plus, I like to take pictures of my tent at night, and having a light inside the tent makes it illuminate, makes it look a lot nicer in the photo. So there's that. Plus, I'm just a big scaredy cat. So I like that. We'll get that out of the way. I also carry a small pump for my sleeping pad. This is actually a Thermarest Neo Air pump, and if you're like me, after hiking all day, I hate blowing up my sleeping pad. It's probably the worst part of the day is blowing up that sleeping pad. So when I saw this on the market, and it only weighs maybe what, 2 ounces, 3 ounces at the most, it is worth it to blow up my sleeping pad. You still have to add a little bit extra air to it with your mouth, but for the most part, this blows it up. And I get dizzy when I blow that thing up. But you just open it up, and it pops open. And it blows it up fairly quickly. I was kind of surprised. For my headlamp, I know a lot of backpackers like a couple new headlamps that are out this year and last year, but I've been using this thing for, well, since it came out really. This is a Petzl Aztec, I believe, and it has the rechargeable battery in it. 360 lumens, I believe is what it is. Not the lightest, it's about 3 ounces, so I could shave off 2 ounces to get if I went to a lighter headlamp. However, I'm a photographer, I shoot late at night, and I need something that has power to run for a long period of time, and also I need to be able to see far away so I can focus on items in the distance with my camera. So this actually serves a couple different purposes, and I'm not going to change it out to save 2 ounces. So that works for me. For a battery bank, I have a 10,000 milliamp battery. This is perfect for like 2, 3, 4 days. You could probably stretch out even longer than that if you're just charging your phone. But I use it for a couple other devices like my watch, a few other things. So 10,000 is perfect for me for a couple of days. If I'm going to go for a week, I have a 20,000. If I'm taking my drone, I even have a 30,000 milliamp battery too. If I'm doing like a bike packing trip, I may actually take a bigger battery. I do have, again, because I hike by myself, I worry about a lot of things. So I keep 2 chargers for my phone, 2 charging cables for my phone. Everything else just has 1 cable, but I do carry 2 cables just for my phone, so I have access to that. We'll put that aside. This is my clothing bag. I just added this Zpacks bag. Again, I just used Walmart bags for the longest time, for the last, I guess, 4 years, but I bought a couple of Zpacks bags. Didn't save a ton of weight, but I needed an upgrade anyway. So I do use a pillow. This is a Sea to Summit pillow. I forget which version this is, but I'll link it in the description. Again, you can check it out. I'm still kind of iffy about which pillow I like the best. I have like 5 different pillows, and I just can't get comfortable. I'm a side sleeper, and I just can't get it. So if you have any ideas for me to try out, put them in the comment section, and I'll definitely check it out. But so for right now, that's what I'm using. For summertime, I have a really lightweight fleece. Got this on Amazon. It is a white Sierra, created in sunny California. I don't know what any of that means, but it's the lightest fleece I could find for summertime. I saw that on a different YouTube channel. I forget which channel it was. If I can figure that out, I'll put that in the description. I don't carry a whole lot as far as clothes. I usually wear my clothes for a couple of days. I don't care. I do carry usually 2 pairs of socks and a pair of underwear. That's it. So not a whole lot in the clothing department. My toiletry bag. I don't think I have to go over that. You know what that is. This is like my safety bag, plus my fire starting bag and some medicine that's in here that I need to take. I do have one small, a 1 ounce knife that's in here as well. It's a really tiny knife. I'm not gonna go over this whole bag, but as far as any kind of safety stuff I have in here, emergency kit, I only have like 2 gauze bandages and some tape. And of course I have aspirin, Tylenol, a couple things like that. And except my fire starting stuff is in here too, so maybe we'll go over that in a different video. For a sleeping pad, I have the Neo Air with a Thermarest Uberlight. Have not used it yet. This is the normal width one, not the super wide like I usually use. And it is the normal length, I believe. Give that a try this year. Bought it last year when it came up, and I have not used it yet. For my sleeping bag, this is a 50-degree bag. I know a lot of guys don't typically go that high. I am not a cold sleeper. I'm a fairly warm sleeper. This thing, it only weighs about 10.5 ounces, super, super light. It's an Enlightened Equipment Enigma, I think. Yeah, is that what it is, Enigma? I also have a 20-degree Revelation bag that I use in the wintertime. I use that 20-degree bag all the way down to like in the single digits, and I was plenty warm. I was completely fine. So I have no problem using a 50-degree bag in the summer. So 10.5 ounces, can't beat that. My tent, the one I'm having problems with. This is the Zpacks Plexamid. The thing only weighs, on my scale, 14.5 ounces. So it is super, super light. But I'm having some problems with the top dome. If you're familiar with this tent, it has a top flat piece that has a couple of carbon rods in it. I believe it's carbon fiber rods. I snapped one on my first trip. Second trip, I snapped 2. So my next trip, I'm not going to use any rods at all in the top little piece and see how that works out. It does seem to set up okay without it. It sags a little bit in the top, but not a huge deal. It sucks to spend money on something and you expect it to work a certain way, and then it doesn't do that. So I'm a little bummed out, but you know, at 14.5 ounces for a tent, it's a 1.5 person tent. It's hard to pass up, but again, I'm kind of bummed you spend money on something that doesn't work out the way you expect it. For tent stakes, I was using the MSR groundhogs because that's what I had. But then on eBay, I found an awesome deal on these MSR carbon, what are they called? Carbon core something. And I'm gonna give these things a try. Half the weight of the MSR groundhogs, and we'll give it a shot. You know, I'm not backpacking in crazy weather Well, I might be, who knows, but this thing should hold just fine. So all in all, this whole setup weighs about 12 pounds. It's taken me 4 years to get to that weight. I don't think I'll ever be ultralight by any means. I don't think I'll ever get under 10 pounds. I'm pretty happy where I'm at as far as weight goes. My first trip I remember was like 50 pounds 4 years ago. So I've come a long way since I first started. It does take time, it takes a lot of money. So a few of the things I have is I'm still using these same Hiker Hunger poles I've been using for a couple years. I did snap one this past winter. The carbon fiber is not that great in the wintertime, and I found that out. And it snapped on me, so I did replace the pole. But carbon fiber poles, cork handles, definitely, I won't ever go back to anything different than that. They do have some kind of little foam thing down below. I'm not sure what that's all about, but you got carbon or cork up here, foam down below. Don't know what that's about, but anyway, poles are decent for 60 bucks. Can't beat it. Definitely the nicer poles I own. I have some cheaper ones too that suck pretty bad, but I can't imagine spending $200 on hiking poles. Now my shoes. My wife bought me these last fall. I used to just use trail runners, you know, whatever I could find, but these are Ultra brand shoes. I don't have a whole lot of experience on trail running or actual backpacking shoes or trail shoes. But I gotta tell you, these things are pretty amazing. They're so comfortable. It's got a big old toe box. My feet are so comfortable in these shoes. So I'll link these in the description as well, which model they are, because I'm not sure where the model even is on it. It says 0 drop on the side. It says a couple different things. So I'll just put the link in the description. I'll look it up, but pretty amazing shoes. I wouldn't have bought them myself until my wife actually bought them for me. So thank you for those, wife. Okay, camera gear. I do carry a chest bag with some camera gear in it. When I film myself, I'm doing any kind of video, just an extra bag or extra rag. I do use a Sony RX100. That name is way longer than it needs to be for an action cam. It's already waterproof. I'll use that for most of my filming. Any kind of B-roll stuff I'm going to shoot. I have a Sony RX100 Mark IV. So that's pretty much for the video, although for the RX100 I will use that for photos too sometimes when I want to go super light if I don't want to carry a DSLR. This is just a little screen. I can actually see what's on the action cam, although I don't usually take it, but it's in here right now. But I don't usually carry that. Some extra batteries. As far as how I support the cameras, I do have a selfie stick. I don't usually take this unless I'm doing a photography tutorial, and I'll show you how I use this in a second. What I usually use is just this little bendy tripod, and I like this way better than the other tripod, the bendy tripod everybody uses. This thing's about half the weight, and I like how it just easily bends. It doesn't make any crazy noises. It goes right back to where it needs to go really easily, and actually will hold a full-size DSLR without a big heavy lens, of course, but it will hold a full-size DSLR. So the way I use these together is this pole has a mount on the bottom, and if I'm going to do a photography tutorial, I can set this up. I don't need a tree to mount the camera in a tree or anything. I can stand this right up. I can mount the action cam on here. I can also mount the RX100 on here and film myself doing a photography tutorial when I'm out there backpacking. So these two together work out really good. If I'm not going to do any kind of real tutorials, I don't take this with me. It just stays at home. It's just extra weight. Occasionally I will take a head strap for the camera. I only take this when we do a lot of water crossings and I want to film myself doing that. I may take this with me, but usually I don't carry that. What I really like is the chest strap. I'll take a chest strap if I'm going to do a lot of photography where I'm not wearing the backpack. If I'm not going to do a lot of photography or tutorials, again, I will strap the camera right to a little strap that I have for my shoulder strap that mounts the camera right here. So I think that's about it for everything. Again, my base weight's around 12 pounds before I add any kind of camera gear, of course, because it always changes depending on the trip that I'm going to take. But that's how I'm going to start the season. There's a few new things I'm going to be using, and we'll see how it goes. I may modify it as the season goes along. I will definitely check in and let you know. And if you have any questions or comments about the gear I'm using, definitely put those in the comment section below. I'll answer this as best that I can. And I thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.